Okay, hi everyone. Welcome. It is Wednesday. That means it is time for Mini Mayhem here on WizKids YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Vee Mus'e. I'll be your host for I honestly don't know how long this is going to go because I'm not kidding. This is big. So our little feature piece today is the D&D Icons of the Realms, the Tower. All right. So I'm going to be showing this beauty off to you today. We're going to be taking a closer look. I'm going to be showing you all the awesome features and details that went into this. But if you are new here, please don't forget you can hit that subscribe button down below. Just click, click it and all that good stuff's going to happen. And it's one of those things where if you want to find out when we have live streams happening, hit the notification bell too, because it'll let you know when I go live with live streams, as well as when Jessa does her Much Ado About Gaming on Tuesdays. And then there's also the fantastic wonderful videos we have from Scott Porter for our Hero Clicks. We just recently did Hero Clicks X-Men House of X. So if you haven't seen those yet, I do recommend you check them out. But after this, okay, go there after that. So yeah, I've had some fun this morning and I'm already seeing the chat reactions. Wow, oh my gosh, yes, there's a lot happening with this mini. What it really is a piece of terrain. So this is just something to keep in mind. And it is a lovely piece of terrain at that. I can't wait to show you all the little details and everything that goes into this. So I've rearranged much of my studio for the sake of room. So let me start off by explaining, first of all, how you can expect this. It is out already in a rolling release. So that means you can reach out to your FLGS. We always encourage you, contact your friendly local game store. If you don't know where one is, we can check out this link right there, that one. Okay, so plug this link into your web browser and you can type in all your pertinent information and it'll show you all the game stores within your area. If for some reason there isn't one near you, then we recommend you go to dndmini.com and you can place your order. And it's one of those things, like I said, it's a rolling release. That means it's going to be available in certain areas before others because the world, let's just put it that way. So do make sure you check it out ahead of time before visiting your FLGS, or maybe it might be one of those things where you can arrange a pickup and wonderful things like that. But they are becoming available as of now throughout the month of December. So in time for the holidays, all that wonderfulness. But when you go to pick this up, the important thing to keep in mind is that you're going to be getting this. This is not a poster, okay? I know it looks like a poster. It is not a poster. This is actually the carrying case in which it will come. And I say carrying case because there is a handle at the top, because you'll be able to put this away into the box for safekeeping, that's a new one, for safekeeping, or if you chose to keep it arranged as is, you then also have like this really cool way of just showing off your cool things. But what I wanted to show you is the actual size of, oh, no, that's not it, this one. So this is how big the box is. For frame of reference, if you want scale, sense of scale, I am 5'2". This is a big box. I'm not even kidding. If it were deeper, I could probably fit into it. But you get this massive display case. So it's one of those things where if you're a traveling DM, you can put the tower into the box, keep it all safe and contained, and then you'll be able to move it around, tote it around where you want to, or if it's a matter of you just want to keep it safe and dust free, again, you could put it into the case or, have it on display like I have here. And oh yes, if you have questions, I see Hilarious has already done that. Type question in bold and then pop it in the chat because, like I said, it'll help me see the question faster. So the question is, since WizKids tabletop products seem to get big and bigger, when will you finally get the professional TV, home shopping, studio environment? I don't know, but make and do, work with what you got. Plus it's, I kind of like it. It keeps me on my toes, let's put it that way. So I'm going to show you, first of all, the tower as it is. And then what I'm going to do, let me go back to main screen here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart layer by layer so you can see everything that's happening with it. I think it's important for you to check it out and see. I'm sorry, but the chat is going to keep me giggling because every time I glance over there, I'm seeing one more expression of awe and yes, it's a sizable piece. But I thought it'd be good to see the pieces broken down so you can see how this comes together by taking it apart, if that makes sense. And in terms of cost, it is $249.99, just for frame of reference. Now, as one who makes terrain and who has been hired to make terrain, that's a really good deal. So let's take a look at this a little bit closer. I'm going to move the case. Like, it's big. I mean, I can't even fit it. Well, I can. Not entirely though, but it's a big case. It's a good sized case. So I'm gonna put this over here for now. And I do have the microphone sort of in a place where hopefully it is getting picked up enough, but my voice might go in and out, just a heads up there. So if there's ever any audio issues, let me know. Let's see, question. This is not something that would per se, that's a good question. Okay, Calkins? In terms of, does it work with the Warlock tile system? It's not something that it wouldn't work, but it's not set up to interlock with the tiles, if that makes sense. But they could very much work together, like, you know, have a little area set up next to the tower. Yeah, you could do that, but it's not something where you could connect a hallway into it. Does that make sense? This is coming from Dungeons and Dragons. This is a massive, wonderful piece of terrain that they are doing, again, with their icons of the realm. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shift this over carefully because I wanted you to see it with some minis as well. So I'm just going to shift it here. Now, this is a tower on its own right here. What I'm going to show you first are small miniatures next to it. So let me grab my smaller ones. All right, so here's who I'm pulling. These little doodahs. And I'm going to put them right by the front door. That's small, okay? Then we're gonna bump it up to medium. And I have a few, and actually I'll grab the Goliath too. So let's do the Baxi, the Dragonborn, and the Goliath. Okay, so all these guys, medium in stature. Let's see here. So I'm gonna place them, whoop, no. I'm gonna place them right here. And again, this is so you get a sense of scale. And don't forget, personally, I'm 5'2", and this thing's the size of my torso when I'm holding it. I'm not even kidding. So here are your mediums. You can see here. Keep going there. Now I'm going to pull out some larger ones. I have a Shambling Mound and a Zombie or Ogre Zombie. These guys. So let's put them right along the way. Still interesting, isn't it? And then, good morning, Leonardo. And then I thought, just for fun, why not just break out one of the more notable dragons to show you what it looks like. And I have grabbed my Sapphire Dragon. And I'm just going to pop this on the top right now. Because that really does give you, I mean, even that shows how impressive the size is of this particular tower. So that gives you an idea of how all these minis will look and function around it. Okay, if I try to get this closer, trust me, the zoom's gonna get off. So it's one of those things, I'm gonna take this apart now because this comes in layers. Think of it like a cake, like a birthday cake, a really cool birthday cake. So I'm gonna take it apart layer by layer so you can see everything that goes into this particular tower. Yeah, so that is a bunch of different scales, or a bunch of different minis to give you a sense of scale for how this all comes together. In terms of its actual size, it is 8 inches in diameter. Okay, so each of these levels is 8 inches in diameter. And then in terms of the sections, they are 100 millimeters tall. So I'll show that to you as well. There are other things that are going to be showing up as I take this apart. But I thought it'd be fun to first give you a view of everything. You know, Fred, it does have some, you know, certain shows about dragons vibes to it for sure. So I'm going to put these guys to the side. Oh, and I want to show you one more thing before I start really taking this, not fully like, you know, taking it apart here before I start showing you level by level as we work our way down. What you can also do is, right now it is sort of a 3 stories high type of thing, but what you could always do if you wanted is remove one, and you can pop the top off, which I'm going to do right now. Bear with me because I pop the top off, and that's the nice thing. The pieces are secured together. So I'm going to lift this up, hopefully. Oh, it actually locks into place, which is nice. There we go. And then you can make it a lower tower if you wanted to, just like that. So you have some permutations. We're going to talk about those permutations as we go along. So let me pop this back into place. And I am going to go to the overhead, which, let me just quickly adjust the camera here. Actually, let me move this forward. Okay, so here is the first layer. And I'm not kidding, my camera is lofted up as high as it possibly can get. But when you go to the top of the tower, you get this upper layer and you have this insert for the floors. So let's, you know what, let's talk about the floors first. So I'm going to push this to the side. You're going to be getting these layers of floors and they are made out of cardboard. And they are made in the way, and this is what I like, it's great for different options because there are those who like to work on grid and there are those who like to work off the grid. And in terms of the question I just saw about it being full height walls, it's actually a little bit taller than full height walls. So keep that in mind. So with these, this is with the grid visible, and I'll show you the other floors as we go along. So that's with the grid visible. And that is where you have this more, it still nods to a grid, but it's more integrated, very much like the Warlock tiles. Okay, so just something we're starting to do, you can keep in mind. But this cardboard is actually, it's nice and secure and it is strong. And I know that it's something people were asking about, but it is really a good piece of cardboard that goes into it. So this basically, it sits on the top, all right? This is sort of like an observatory opening. So you could actually look down into the tower from the top here, all right? So let's remove this. I'm gonna pop this over here. And then you have this circle of stone statues, which I just showed you pop off. And you can see it locks into place here, okay? That's what I had locked it into, and it stays really nice and secure. So if it's one of those things you want a quick lift, don't push it down as hard as I did earlier. But you can shift it around. So that is what we're gonna start looking at is this first top layer. I need more table space. So here is the top layer here, and I'm gonna show you everything here. Like I said, I'm sort of deconstructing it. So when the time comes, this piece locks into place there, and you can have it so the stairs feed through here. Let me grab the stairs so you can see. So you have it so the stairs feed through like so, all right? And it becomes a playable surface, especially when you put the cardboard piece on there. But the nice thing is this pops out, okay? So this dome, nice plastic dome, it does have some detailing, so it looks like wrought iron over glass. The dome pops out, all right? That piece comes out. This piece also will come out. So then it becomes something where, I'm gonna grab the other layer back. So that comes out too. And you can see this is all pre-painted, has a lot of details to it, a lot of texture. You get that stone floor happening. You still even get some grid work here from the spacing of the tiles, which is lovely. But when you do that, you can very easily pop the top back on and you'll be able to see into the tower itself. So that is how these upper layers start to work together. Let me pop this off again. And then around the edge, you have, I think it's cool to sort of spin this around. You have these statues facing in, hands linked together, but it actually comes apart into 4 different pieces, which is great because this is one of those things where you really, if you don't have a lot of room, it stores away beautifully. And I know that can be an issue with terrain. There's usually, you know, some people, I don't have enough room, and that is a genuine concern when it comes to terrain, but because this goes into a flat case, you could easily slide the case under your bed if you wanted to. So these pop off, just like this. And they come in 4 pieces, okay? And every so often, the hands will link into each other like that. So you get this seamless connection between them, just like that. So I'm gonna show you this a little bit closer up. But you have all this great detail of the folds and the cloaks, the cracking, again, for that very stone-like effect. And there's even like that creepiness of like the faces that are shadowed. I love that. You could have a lot of fun with that. It could be something like maybe these come to life, or, you know, maybe it's sort of a summoning circle-esque type thing. And yeah, so that is, you get 4 of those to go around the ring at the top. All right, and this is the ring itself. Again, it has all the texture. I'm running out of room. Has all the texture. And even around the sides here, that stone-like texture. And again, this is so that it locks into the top, but it will also rest on the next layer. So if you wanted to do a shorter tower, you very easily could. So that's the upper layer. or the top, I should say. Let's go to the upper layer. So this is what the next one looks like. Again, you have the floor, and this floor is different because it is full. All right, so it doesn't have the opening, but once again, you have the without the grid and with the grid, as well as the nod to a staircase. So the cool thing is when you have this going, you can get like this spiral staircase setup going, pop it in, and then I like to set the staircase just to sort of line up with the floor. So it looks like, as you can see, get that visual trick, the staircase is descending or ascending depending on how you're going through this. I need to take a quick sip of tea. I'm going to do a lot of talking today. Okay, so you get this great visual effect of being able to go up and down the stairs. And here let's talk about the stairs, because I think this is a fantastic feature as well when it comes to gameplay. You're going to be getting 3 of these. All right, so there are 3 of these in the set, and they have that curve to follow the wall. And really, you could even use these outside of the tower if you wanted to. You know, maybe you have a house that you've built up and you want to get to the second story. You could put that up with that set. But now you can take a look. You can see, again, stone bricks, as well as this wood detail. And the grain in the wood is nice and deep, which personally I love to see. And you get the rope lashed around. And here's the other side. You even get the beams working underneath. But this is the part I want to make sure everyone's aware of. You'll see, looking at the staircase, you have every so often this sort of darker coloring happening. Well, that's actually because it's an opening. These stairs are made so that you can actually lock your minis into place, so you can have the minis going up the stairs. So I will show you right now. I'm going to take the tabaxi and tuck her in. And let's take this archer. And we'll take one of the smaller ones. Let's take you. So what I've done is basically, I've slid the bases into those open notches. And now the minis can stand on the stairs. It's actually really cool, especially for combat. And that is something that I wanted to make sure it was pointed out so people were aware of that feature. And those are the stairs. So again, you get 3 of these. All right, 3 of these staircases. So let me put that down. And then I'm going to show you the next part of this layer. So we've looked at the floor. Like I said, it's that nice strong cardboard. It reminds me, if you've done like put together your own furniture type of stuff, this type of cardboard very much reminds me of the type that you would find in sort of the base of drawers and things like that. It's nice, it's strong, it's secure, which is wonderful. Let me quickly jump over to the chat. Let me see here. Let's see. Fred is asking, is the floor captive in the walls when it's sounded? No, the floor is not stuck and you can't move it. You can actually, and this is good, when the floor is in, you can still spin it around, which honestly I find helpful, because then depending on where your stairs are, you can manipulate the floor around to better match up with your stairs. So it doesn't lock fully into place. It rests comfortably. Does that make sense? And then you can lift it out as needed, which is helpful. So that was one of the questions. And let me see here. Any others? Yeah, the stairs actually are good size. They're also 1 inch wide, which is great again for grid purposes if you want to use the grids. So this is the top tier, essentially. All right. Again, you get this archway work, the stone work, but here's where it comes into play of it being a really cool thing. And you can see what I'm doing right now. This comes apart from itself. All right. So here you have 2 pieces. And then you just wiggle it gently. Don't get too rough because you don't want to snap anything. You wiggle it gently to separate them. And now it's in 4 sections. All right, so you're kind of dealing with this curvature pieces. But now suddenly, that very large tier has now been broken down. And then you're able to tuck this into the case like this. All right, there are storage compartments for each of the layers, for each of the pieces. It is a beautiful thing. So that's what I mean when this comes apart. And it's actually pretty easy to put back together. So what you want to do, taking a look here, you'll see you have these grooves here. and you have these notches here, you want to make sure you have, let me get this in a better angle. You want to make sure you have it so that these tuck in, and then you can slide it into each other once you get the right angle going. Oh, hold on. Nope, reverse. Do I have the right pieces? There we go. All right, so you have to make sure, my bad. So it is like a puzzle piece, so make sure you have the pieces lined up. I was using the other side. So get this so it's lined up. Again, you have those notches, and then it just slides together, just like that. So it comes apart and pops back in. So you just want to make sure you're looking for the pieces that line up. That's where I had a oops-a-daisy. But just quickly like this. And then when it comes to the end piece, when you go to put this together, it helps to get them both set up. See, like this and like this. And then push from both sides together. And that puts the piece back together for you. And you can go around and actually make it a little bit of a tighter fit by pushing together. Do not push everything together tightly until you have all the pieces in. That is important to know. Because if you try and do everything, okay, so you know it's like when you're trying to screw a piece together, like a furniture piece that you're putting together, and you put the screws in too tight, but you still need wiggle room for that last post. It's kind of like that. So you don't want to have everything tightened up and then try and put in that last piece that has to sit between the first and the second. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time getting those pegs in. So push together firmly after everything is connected together, and you'll get your tier. So that's the upper tier. I'm going to slide this over here. And now we're going to go to the next one. This is the middle tier. All right. And now you can see what the middle tier comes with. And it has its own features as well. So once again, you get another staircase. Again, with the pop the minis in slots. But we're going to put that over here for now. I have a stack going behind me. Pop out. Again, the floor. Same thing. So you get two of these. Two of this style. With the wood floor and the stairs in it. But without the circle in the opening. The circle in the opening is for the very top. And it's the same thing. Setup wise, you can see it comes apart in 4 pieces, but here's another feature. The windows, say you wanted to have more of a ruined type tower, the windows pop out like so, okay? So here's the window piece. So you can make it look like it's more dilapidated. And again, it's like puzzle pieces. So they just pop out like so. Very quick and simple. And then you want to put it back in. It's like the other one. You just get everything lined up. All right, so line it all up together and then just push back in. And that gives you your fit, just like that. And I'm going to pause for a second and take a look in the chat. But once the pieces are in, the windows seamlessly hide into the stonework because of how those stone pieces are worked into it. So it's fun. You could play around it. This is like the wizard's tower that got forgotten. Or it is maybe more of a watchtower type of thing. But yeah, pop them in, pop them out. It gives you a different look. And this also comes apart like the other pieces. So see, you have the stones working to mask the connection points, and you just get everything lined up and you tuck it in together. Simple as that. And it's 4 pieces, just like before. So I'm not going to take the whole thing apart, but it shows you how these all work and how it can be more condensed and drop down in size. So if storage is your issue, it really isn't that bad when it's not put together. All right, let me take a look here. Let's see. Any questions? And let's see. So, no questions floating around. And, some of you are saying that, not one who uses terrain. That's perfectly okay. This could even be one of those things where another alternative is you have this as a display case and you put on your minis inside. So literally you could tuck your minis in there to keep them all safe, and it's sort of tucked away in a tower. which again, if space is a thing for you, but you want a cool way to display your minis, I would go in that direction, quite frankly. Just make sure all the minis are tucked away for fun. Put that in there. And get this over here, because now we're going to take a look at the bottom piece. And again, it comes with a set of stairs. Remember, you get 3 of those. And here is the final one. All right, so this is the base. And the base does have, let me flip it back to overhead, or the, not from overhead, the main screen. So here's the base layer of the tower cake. The doors, they do function. They open and close, which I love. It's a great feature, so you can make it quite intense. Just like that, open and close. You have these buttresses around the side, which give it a really cool look. And plus those can become playable areas for characters to hide behind, half cover, that type of thing. And this is what it looks like inside. And as you can see, it's a different style floor. It is a stone floor, not a wooden floor, but again, it has the grid action. This one's the more intense side. This is the less intense side. Okay? But you still get that grid. And it just pops into the center like everything else. But that's your first floor. Alrighty. So let me show you how this piece goes together. We're going to remove the floor. And what happens is these buttresses, going back to overhead, the buttresses pop off. So you get 7 of these. Just like this. All right. And you can see there are these key locks that work with the back of the buttresses. So let me show you the buttresses up close. They are all the same, but they have the stonework along the sides and along the top. And you even have the different depths, which really, for me, I love those extra details. But these make it possible to basically just line it up, and then you press in once you get everything into the respective pieces, and it holds it to place. So that's how the buttresses would go on. See if I can show you a little bit more easily here. A little tricky to show because this is deeper into the walls, but again, just line it up and press down. And that's how those work. In fact, I'll show you the base, the bottom, and you can see it locks in rather securely, which is wonderful. Alrighty, let me just quickly check over here. Yes, I got called out about who has a mini collection small enough to put into our... Well, some of your minis could go in there. Not all of my minis, but some of others' minis. And in terms of putting this together, you have, again, the 4 separate pieces. But in this case, the one piece will have the door to open and close. You can even take a closer look at the door detail here. You have this wood grain along with rivets, and there's actually a metallic frame, which you can see happens as I move it around. Even the handles have a light metallic touch to them, like wrought iron. But those are the doors on the one piece. And then the other 3 pieces are basically stone walls, like so. All right. So you have one side and then the other side to line them up and interlock them all together. And it's the same as the other layers that I showed you. You'd put them all together and then just line things up, which doing blind is not fun. So you get them all lined up. There's one side in, there's the other side in, and then just do a quick push together and everything is securely locked together. So you can pick it up and move it around. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, was the whole thing in terms of, well, how would you use this when it comes time and you have your players in the tower? It's one of those things where you can, and I do not have the table space to show this, maybe behind me, I'll leave this behind me. So what you can always do when it's a matter of playability, you're using this in your campaign, you have an encounter in the tower, We know how players like to function. We know how players love to just sort of, I'm going to go to the very top, and someone else is like, well, I want to go to the second floor. And they all start going to different parts of the tower. You can make use of this very easily by basically placing your layers next to each other. And then you can see what's happening in each of the layers and still keep your game going. Whoop, hold on. Let's lock that back into place so I can show you what I mean here. I just need to move a couple pieces. So here we have, put that there. And we're going to shift you over. So what you could always do when it comes time to running this, you can set it up on your table so you have your various layers stacked up. The top tier I took apart, so we're just going to push it over there. But you can very easily just line it up with your staircases, put inside. There we go. And then you can play it through. So it doesn't matter if the party wants to go to different layers. You just take the layers apart, and then if it's a matter of you want to put everything back together again, it's pretty straightforward. You just pop everything back into place, not over the windows. And you may need to wiggle out one of the buttresses, just a heads up on that one. I wiggle out a buttress just to give me a little bit more room. And then you just stack it all back together. So that's really a fun feature when you're using it in gameplay, that you can have it spread out so all the floors are visible, or you can stack it all together so it is one section, and you can have them work through it one layer at a time if you want to, or have it all spread out. So let me see here. I'm just going to quickly jump over, looking in the chat. Let's see here. The doors, okay, remember, if you want me to answer questions, if you type in question, it's fast for me to find. When it comes to the doors, you could take them out if you wanted to, but be careful because they're peg pivots. So it's there's a little notch at the top and bottom of the door frame, and you can pop in on the peg that's on the door. You can pop those in, but please be careful doing that. I wouldn't recommend popping the doors out if you didn't have to, but you could. Does that make sense? But in order for them to swing back and forth like this, they have basically a peg at the top and then one at the bottom, so you can have it rotate through. I just saw Leonardo's comment about every building in the town is shaped like a wizard's tower. I mean, that would be an interesting town of wizards. And you could have different layers, different stacks. You could even have fun spin it where they come to the tower and there's no door to be found. And you could, if you wanted to, if it was a 2-layer tower, you could use this as the, door could not be found, and then switch this one if you, this is a storyteller in me. There's a bunch of different ways to spin this so that you can create a story and encounter within the tower itself. And the other great thing is this also can become sort of a setting point for you. So it's maybe the wizard has hired the party to go off and find some sort of artifact for them. All right. And they come back to the wizard's tower every so often, brings whatever they need to, and the wizard gives them further information about their quest or something else that needs to be found for whatever. So it really is an awesome feature piece. But you can see it just, 1, 2, 3, well, and 4, which is over here. It is just a nice stackable piece, but it comes apart and it stacks in, it goes into the case beautifully. And the case itself, you can slide underneath. Let me see here. I am going to switch over to the other. I have more photos for you because I thought that would be fun to see. So again, that is the size of the case. Okay. So the case is definitely a good size, but now what I want to do is let's take a look. Here we go. So this is what it looks like all taken apart. So those are all the pieces that come in this. And then here it is. This is sort of the standard shot. You'll see this on dndmini.com. So this gives you more of the physical features of it. You can see it right here, up close and personal. Again, the stone detail work, it has a wash on it, so it really brings out those lower and more dented in stones. That is the official case artwork right there. And it's just going to cycle through so you can see some other setups for you. I also made sure to include some pictures that have, you can see it on a battle map. And it integrates beautifully. You can do it either with battle maps, you can put it onto your actual terrain. This is what I mean when you can take everything out and look down and into the features. You can even shift around that circle one, this one, shift it into different floors. And that is what it looks like when it's in the case. Okay, so that's how everything fits together in the case. I can't show you that. I don't have enough room. But here you're getting a sense of scale with the minis, again, placed by the door. And those are the different layers pulled apart. Again, spread out like I was showing you behind me, so you can see it on the floor. And if you wanted to, that's an interesting question, Philareus. If you wanted to assemble it with sort of an opening, so it looks more dilapidated, you can. The three pieces together are strong enough. In fact, if you want to, we can do a permutation of that and take a look at it there. And let me see here. Oh, the whole door frame, Fred. You can't pop out the door frame itself. No, that is put into it, I believe. Or does it pop out? Hold on. I may be eating my words. Hang on a second here. Maybe the door frame does pop out now that I'm taking a look at this. It does. Okay, so yes, the door frame does pop out. Surprise! I literally just started playing with it this weekend. So the door frame does pop out. The doors themselves, I would not pop out. So you know what? Let's do this. Let's start making this tower look a little bit more dilapidated. I'm going to switch over to the main screen. Okay, so here we have the door is popped out. And you could do something fun like let's have one of the buttresses tipped over. And I'm going to pop out a couple windows. So we have this looking more and more falling apart. And then let's try the taking out a wall. I want to try that and see how that looks. Okay, there's one side. There's the other side. Let's put that piece over there. So yeah. There we go. Oh yeah, you definitely can do that. So that is what it looks like when you pop off. Now you do get a little gapping, just be aware for that. But you could run this so it looks like it's falling apart. And then let's just for fun, see how, yeah, because see it can handle having the upper layer on there. So you could get this set up so that it has openings and it looks more broken up and older for that dilapidated effect. And thank you, Fred, for mentioning the door. I didn't realize that popped out. I thought that was one big piece. Learn something new. But yeah, you could do that. You very much could get away with doing that. Just be aware you have a little bit of a gap here just by nature of how it's constructed. But even that you see in old towers, like you'll see the floors sort of falling apart and you can look up through the different layers. So you have that going on. Oh, that is a fun look. See, it's falling apart. So yes, that would be a thing. Does that have cardboard? What do you mean, Ryan, by does that have cardboard maps? If you can clarify on that question, I'll do what I can to answer that for you. So, Philaris, you can do it in different permutations. You could have it so the one wall's open, and you could work your way through if you wanted to do it that way. Or you can have it look more broken apart and falling apart by popping out a wall. That definitely is an option for you. And you can have it in its different layers all set up. You know, that's a good point. Dex checks on the open floor. I'm just going to quickly look here. All right, so that is, sorry, my chair barely fits right now. So that is basically everything that goes into the tower, everything that's set up and everything that happens with it. And again, you get such variety and it's so neat and you can do different levels, 2 levels. I did try the 1 level wouldn't work simply because of the buttresses, unless you want to take the buttresses off, but just keep in mind, you will see that part of the buttresses if you remove that. So you can do it so it has 2 layers or 3 layers very easily with the caps. You can even do it so it's, you know, stacked around, take apart your cake, so to speak. But it's honestly like, and this is just speaking as one who uses terrain, it's got a lot of really cool features to it. And as you just saw, I learned that there was another one. I didn't realize that door. So cool. But yeah, this is one of those things where I was excited to get a chance to share this with everyone. And it's one of those pieces, again, for those of you joining us after the big announcement in the beginning, it is out and it's available for releases, and rolling releases, I should say. So it's one of those things where I highly recommend you contact your FLGS let them know you are interested in the D&D Icons of the Realm, the Tower, that is the official name of it, and find out if they have it in store yet. If they don't, you should be able to put a pre-order in or an order in with them and get it ahead of time. And then that way you can secure your tower for yourself. If a local store is not an option after checking out the shop local, use the WizKids IO/local store to see if there is one near you. If there isn't one near you, then you can always go to dndmini.com and order it through there, and you'll be able to get it shipped to your house directly instead. But I personally, I enjoy it. I think it's a really neat kit, really neat set because of all those little details. And I love that you can use different components for other things, like the staircases. The fact that these could pop out and be used. I could even see these, like if you had a cityscape going and you have one of those, like, 2-story houses, pop it up next to one of those. So, one story is for one family, the second story is for another family. So it has a lot of potential, a lot of possibility to it in terms of how else you could use it, which is something to keep in mind. And again, everything goes into that great storage case, so you could put it away and be able to move it around as you need to, especially if you're a traveling DM. You can put the tower into its carrying case, quickly assemble it. To assemble this fully took me about maybe 10 minutes first time out of the box without having never assembled it before. And then obviously it takes less time the more you work with it and the more familiar you get with how everything locks together and little tips and tricks going into it. I could probably put this together in, under 10 minutes is a safe bet. So it really isn't that much prep work to put together, which is also nice and also quite key. And it does work with other sets that we have out there, the ones like Dungeon Dressings and Castle Barracks, and you could even do like the encampment on the outside. So there are other set pieces that could integrate with it for those of you asking about furniture and things like that. Even our unpainted miniatures you could incorporate into that. And in terms of, I thought I saw someone asking about other layers. I don't believe there are plans to make additional layers. I could find out and see if that is going to be the case. But right now, this is the set in its entirety. Well, in its entirety. I have shown you the set in its entirety during this stream, even though part of it is still over here behind me. But yeah, that is everything that goes into the tower. And let me just do a quick read over here. Oh, I see what you're doing. It does have a lot of potential, and trust me, there are some really cool terrain pieces that are coming down the pipeline, which is really all I can say about that. But do make sure you keep in touch and check things out in terms of what else we're going to have coming out. Next week will still be another D&D item, and it's another big one. I might even keep this setup in mind because it might be easier to show her off that way. But next week, because she's going to be coming to a store near you in January 2021. Hello, how am I saying that year already? But I have Arviataris to show you next week. And this is the one that was previewed on D&D Live 2020 back in June. So that really big white dragon for Rime of the Frost Maiden, I'm going to have her here next week. And I want to show her off to you because there are some fantastic details that really show beautifully, and I want to show you how it looks against other miniatures because trust me, scale is very impressive with this beauty, and she's sitting out of camera reach. Otherwise, I'd grab her. Actually, no, I'm being a brat, and I'm holding her off until next week. But along with her, I will also show you some more of the D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures UPM unpainted miniatures. So we'll be taking a look at Arviataris next week, as well as the unpainted minis you can expect with Wave 13, which is releasing in stores today, okay, on the 2nd. So you can go and, again, check those out with your friendly local game store, too. I highly recommend that because there are some really gorgeous, I'll show you next week. There are some beautiful ones. And then the week after that, I am planning on painting the Magic the Gathering. It's the Ghost Circle miniature that I showed you from a couple weeks ago. I thought that would be a good one to show you how to paint those miniatures because it deals with the transparent plastic, and I want to be able to show you some tips and tricks for how to paint those and keep the translucency of the plastic but still be able to add a little bit more detail and color to those particular style of minis. So that's sort of the game plan for the next 2 streams. We're going to have Arviataris next week along with some unpainted Nolzurs. And then the week after that, we're going to be doing some mini painting, which feasibly could go into the week after. And I think that takes us into Christmas time at that point. So there will be a hiatus that last week in December. There will not be a Mini Mayhem. So heads up on that. But I will see you again in the new year, the week after that. So I figured it'd be a good point to let you all know what to expect from me in terms of when we'll be doing streams. So there will be streams up until the week of, hold on, I'm going to get my calendar to pop open right now. So basically there will not be a stream on I'm debating the 23rd. I think the 23rd will be sort of a wrap-up painting. So there will not be a stream on the 30th of December, and I'll be back with you on the 6th of January in 2021. Jeez Louise, that feels so bizarre to say. Question, will I be showing the Yawning Portal set soon? Not anytime soon, because that's not targeted to come out until about April 2021. So I don't have that set with me yet. It is still being produced and created, everything in that respect. But yes, the big announcement was made about the Yawning Portal. It is amazing, and it is one of those things that does have some interaction with Warlock tiles. In fact, like there are pieces that will lock together. The tower is not something that connects to, but it can be worked with, since that was a question earlier too. So I think that pretty much wraps up everything for me here. Thank you so much everyone for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing how this tower works and functions and all of the pieces that go into it, as well as how you can store it away, whether you want it put together almost like this or put into its carrying case. That is completely up to you. I look forward to showing you some more D&D products next week. And don't forget, if you are shopping from dndmini.com, you do have a chance to still act on the Yeti Tyke promo. All right, that's if you spend 100 or more in your purchase, and this is only on dndmini.com. You can get a set of those adorable Yeti Tykes that come in the different poses. You have the one with hands up, you have the one holding a bone, and you have the one chomping down on a knucklehead trout, which that's kind of my favorite, to be honest. And that's also one of those things where I will let you know when that's something that's no longer available. And I think that is pretty much it for today. And as you can hear, my voice is starting to go. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to say thank you again so much for joining me. I had fun showing you all these bits and pieces. It has been interesting working from these different angles and trying to keep everything in camera with it. But it's a piece that, as one who works with terrain, this is something that I can definitely see it getting used multiple times in different ways for various reasons. And it's nice and durable and sturdy, which personally I think is fantastic. You don't have to worry about things like the foam getting dented or cracking or breaking, because that's heartbreaking when that happens, speaking from personal experience. It's a nice, sturdy, strong, hard plastic. Again, those cardboard inserts, nice and strong, truly thumbs up. Fantastic and wonderful. So I will see you anon, my dears. I will see you next week. Same time, same place, just, different date, but same day of the week type of thing. Until then, I will see you all on the flip side on socials. I am Vee Mus'e. It has been wonderful seeing you in the chat. And I'm going to wrap this up like I do every single time. Be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Bye, everyone.